Happy Friday. Today I am back because we are doing another practice for tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my own makeup for my little birthday dinner tomorrow. Had to move it from last weekend to this weekend because last weekend we decided to have a blizzard, so we couldn't do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell a story time. This is going to be the story time of how I found out that my mom was suffering from mental illness. So, excuse me if I get distracted. It's an ongoing thing. It's kind of hard to talk about. But a lot of people ask me to talk more about, this situation because it's something that they're dealing with as well within their family or friend group or whatever. So, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Forgive me if I get distracted while I'm putting on the makeup, but we're going to get through it. So I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing because I'm going to be telling the story. So just pay attention. I'm starting with the primer first. So this all started like in 2021. That's when I started to see the behavior be different. So in 2021, I got pregnant and had my son in the same year, okay? So 2021, my mom was still living in the state. She no longer lives in the same state of me, but at the time, she was living in the state with me, and she had just moved out of my house like not too long ago. Because when I was telling you guys how I moved out and got my own apartment, like sometime after that, she came to stay with me. She stayed with me in that apartment and then the next apartment that I moved to. So by this time, me and my fiance are obviously already dating and now we're expecting. And my mom lived close because I had moved in with my fiance at this time and she lived like not too far from him. So I was going over there, hanging out with her. She was doing well. She was working. She had just moved, into her own place. So she's getting back on her feet. So, I'm coming over there to visit her, check out her new house. We getting along. Everything's fine. And I was not that far along. So I was trying to figure out, like, at what point should I tell her? How should I tell her? Should I make it a surprise? Because first of all, I really didn't know, like, how she was going to react. Because my mom, she's very religious. And she grew up very religious. So it was one of those things where I was kind of like, well, we're not married, so I don't know if she's going to be, bouncing off the walls happy about it. Hold on, let me wash this off my hands. So, yes, I'm like, I don't really know how she's going to react because we're not married. She knows my fiance. She's met him a few times, but she don't really know him like that. My ex that I talked about in the first story time was the only guy that I had ever really brought her around. So, yeah, I'm kind of contemplating on when I should tell her, how I should tell her. So probably I got like maybe 4 months along and I still, I wasn't really showing. And one day I came over her house and I just told her, that I was expecting. And to my surprise, she was so freaking happy. And like, that's like the last normal memory I have with her throughout my whole pregnancy. Like when I tell y'all that was that during my pregnancy and like directly after was one of the hardest times in my entire life because I was dealing with that. And I'm like, this is my first time being pregnant. I'm about to be a first time mom and all hell is about to break loose and I don't even know. So yes, shortly after that, it stopped being normal, like the interactions. And I would come over and I would notice her house is like just blazing hot. Like she got the heat on hell. And I'm like, I am pregnant. So I'm like, I might just be a little hot or whatever. But, it's hot as heck in here. So I'm telling her, I'm like, Mom, it's super hot in here. Like, you're not hot? She's like, oh, no, I'm not hot. I didn't even notice it. So that was kind of like weird. Because growing up, my mom never kept her house that hot. But I didn't think anything of it. My mom's getting older. So I'm like, older people, they get cold easily. So I'm like, maybe she just entering that stage where she is becoming anemic or something. Okay, so next red flag, I would come over and she would have like stuff up to the to the blinds, to the windows, like sheets covered. It would be completely pitch black, like in her house. Mind you, this is happening like all of a sudden, this behavior. My mom has always had like the normal stuff, like depression and stuff like that. But this behavior, it was taking me aback because I'm like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, I would come over, notice that it's super hot. Come over, notice that she got all the windows covered up. Come over, notice this. Come over, notice that. So like a couple of weeks went by and she up and quit her job. And she was like, I'm really just trying to move. I don't want to live in this state anymore. I don't feel like this state is for me. Yada, yada, yada. Now that I didn't think anything of because my mom never did want to stay here. She always like wanted to move away. That was always her goal. So I'm like, okay, we do this. She does this every couple of years. And a couple of times she actually left, but she ended up ultimately coming back. So she's talking the moving jargon again, and I'm just like, okay, well, like, where are you trying to go? And I don't think it's really the best time to be, picking up and leaving. You just got this apartment. You're going to have to break the lease. You don't have to pay the fees to be able to break the lease. I'm just telling her, like, it's kind of like an erratic thing to do. And kind of maybe you should, plan this out a little better. So she's like, yeah, you're right. She lets it go. Some more time goes by. This all happened, mind you, in a span of a few months. Like everything just happened so fast. So, I would come over and notice like a more and more weird stuff. Like she, was covering up all the windows. She wouldn't turn on certain electronics and stuff in the house. And I would come in and see like she's taking her phone apart completely. I would come in and be like, Mom, I've been trying to call you. Like, what's going on? She'd be like, oh, I turned my phone off. But the phone is taken apart, battery, everything taken out. So I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, something is going on, but I had no clue it was as serious as what it ended up being. So long story short, she goes back to, she wants to move. And I'm like, okay. At this point, I've already told her how I feel about it. She knows that I'm expecting my first child. I'm like, if you want to leave, then go ahead. So, I stopped trying to talk her out of it. So she says, I'm going to break my lease. I'm going to move. I'm going to leave. And she was like, one day I came over there and she was like, do you ever feel like somebody's like listening to you and stuff? And I'm like, no, why do you ask that? And she was just like, I want to tell you more, but I don't want you to think, like I'm crazy. And so I'm like, well, what's going on? She tells me that her neighbors are watching her, recording her. She's saying the maintenance is coming in and, messing with her apartment and stuff. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, that very well could be true. Not more so the neighbors, but the maintenance. I've lived in plenty enough apartments to know the maintenance will come in there and be doing all kind of stuff in your apartment while you're not there. So I was kind of, I'm hearing her out. I'm like, okay, well, what makes you think that? What's going on? What's different? Do you have proof? Did you report it to the office? That kind of stuff. So she's like, yeah, I know it's happening because this, and that. So I'm kind of like, I'm not really thinking that she's making it up. I'm like, that's kind of believable, So yeah, fast forward, she's telling me, she's going to leave. So I get my, one of my close friends from high school, Carl, shout out to him, always coming through, and my fiance to help her, put all of her stuff in storage. So she's like, I'm going to go see my mom. At the time, she was talking about my grandmother who was in Georgia. She's like, I'm going to go see my mom. She's not doing too well. I want to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. She goes there for a couple months and she comes back like closer to when I'm about to have my son. She comes back and she stays, at our house. And I'm noticing more and more stuff that she's doing. And one time, I'm still pregnant at this time, but now I'm far along. I'm probably like 7 months, 8 months, whatever. She ended up getting arrested because she threw a brick into somebody's window because she said they was following her or whatever. But the police ended up letting her go. She was not like a felon or anything. And she really never got in any trouble, so they let her go. She got out, whatever. So now I'm starting to be like, Mom, the stuff you're doing is dangerous. You really need to sit, take a seat, take a beat, and think about, how you moving. Because for one, it's stressing me the hell out. For two, it's super dangerous. So I'm stressing this to her. She's kind of like, yeah, you're right. She's kind of just pacifying me. She's like, yeah, you're right. I hear you. I hear everything you're saying. And it's probably not the best decision, but I know what's happening to me and all this stuff. So now I'm kind of just like, Lord, what am I going to do? Because she up and left, broke her lease. She didn't end up paying for the lease break. And then she had all her stuff in storage and just up and went to my grandmother's house. But then she came back because she wanted to be here, like when my son got here and stuff. Now she's kind of just staying at our house for a few days because at this time she was staying somewhere else. But she came over, to help out. And during that time she was there, she was really helpful. She cleaned up. She did our laundry. She cooked food. She did basically like all of our baby nesting. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so grateful to have her here because I was so big and tired, y'all. When I say big and tired, I was big and tired. So I was so happy that she was there helping us out. But again, I'm noticing now she's doing worse stuff than she was doing before she left. So one day she's in the bathroom and we had an upstairs like condo style house at this time. So she's upstairs and she's taking so astronomically long up there to the point where I checked on her. I'm like, hey Mom, you all right? You been in there for a minute? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, grooming myself, whatever, showering, all those things. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm just checking on you, making sure you're good. Now, at this time, my fiance was working nights. So it would just be me and her, during the nighttime, whatever. I think I ended up coming in there for something while she was in there. And I happened to see she is using ace bandage and wrapping up her whole entire leg, arms, and like she's wrapping herself up with this ace bandage stuff. And I'm like, when I went in there, I was so shocked because I'm like, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? That's dangerous. That can cut off your circulation. You're not supposed to be doing that, And she was using like Lysol on her skin. And she was like, well, I'm just using this for COVID and, just making up stuff because she knew how it looked. So it's like, though she's experiencing this paranoia and stuff, she's still cognizant of like, okay, I know how this looks. So she knew how to like really turn it on and off. So I'm talking to her. I'm like, Mom, it seems like, you really need to get some help because I don't know what's going on here. This is just really a lot, to be honest with you. So there was that incident and I just started to become so alarmed. So the last straw was, well, before we even get to that, I forgot to mention that there was this time where I was coming to take her somewhere and she ran up on this man and tased him while I was right there. And she claimed that, he was following her. And she would say, like, people are following her. People are shocking her and spraying stuff on her skin. And, like, she would say all these kind of things. And this man was just walking his dog near us where we were standing. And she walked up and tased him. And I was horrified because I'm like, that could have went horrible, number one. And, when you're dealing with mental illness or you have anything like that going on, people don't care. They're not about to be like, oh, maybe it's something wrong with her. They're going to be like, oh, I need to protect myself from this person because I don't know what's going on with them. So my first initial thought was fear, because I'm like, if she keeps doing this, something very bad is going to happen. So that night I went home. I broke down in the shower, cried so hard because I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. And, I feel like I'm losing my mom at the worst time at that, when I'm becoming a mom, when I need my mom, the most. Because I feel like as a parent, you always need your parent. You just need them in different ways as you get older, as you evolve. So I was really emotional because I seen firsthand, like, this is way worse, than I initially thought. So, fast forward after that, she ended up staying with a friend, okay? So she was staying with a friend and she would go missing. Like I told y'all earlier in the story that she would turn off her phone, disconnect it, disassemble it, all these things. So, some time had went by and, I hadn't heard from her. And at this point, I'm probably like 9 months and I'm worried sick. And so I went to the friend's house. The friend said she hadn't seen her, hadn't heard from her either. So, I ended up calling the police. I called the police and they were like, basically they couldn't do anything. But they told me that they could help me get access to the building. So cause it was like a secure building. And I was like, well, can I go in here and see, talk to her friends that live here, see if anybody's seen her or whatever. So they helped me get in. That was really nice. And they stayed out there with us, like while we was searching for her and stuff. And I just remember that night feeling like so defeated because I'm like, man, we done drove around here. We didn't call the police, everything. And I don't even know if my mom is alive. I done called the jails, the hospitals, everything. So some days went by. She ends up popping up. And I don't remember what she said as to why she wasn't answering the phone. But I just remember being so mad because I'm like, how worried I was. Like, since this whole thing has been happening, that I've been worried sick. So at least just call me or text me and let me know that you're okay. Like, you driving my blood pressure through the roof. I could have went into labor worrying about you. Anyway, so we get to the day that I have my son. And I'm in labor. I keep getting a call, but I'm in labor, so I'm not answering. But I hear my phone ringing. And then, after I have him, they change our room, they take us to the next room, blah, blah, blah. I keep getting a call. And I'm getting a call from a hospital. So it's saying the hospital that's calling me, but I'm like, it's a mistake because, like, I'm here. So I'm at a different hospital. I'm thinking this has something to do with, like, a nurse trying to contact me or something. I don't know. So finally, the third time they call me, I answer. And they say, hey, this is so-and-so from so-and-so hospital. I'm a nurse here. Your mom's here. Oh my God, y'all. I started like hyperventilating because as soon as she said that, I'm just thinking the worst. I'm like, oh my God, something happened. Something really, really bad happened. Hold on one second. Yes, so the hospital called me. They said that my mom was there. Apparently she got in a confrontation or she got in an altercation with somebody. The police ended up getting called. But this time the police sensed that something was wrong, so they took her to the doctor. So she got held on a psychiatric hold, okay? So they were like, she's going to be here. I'm just letting you know because you're on her emergency contacts. She's going to be here for, I think they said 72 hours. So, I'm like, okay, at least I'm not thinking of like, something's going to happen to her. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, yes, now she can get some help because at first she was refusing to help because she's like, there's nothing wrong with me. So, I go home with my newborn. I was so hurt because she was on the way. The last time I heard from her, she said she was on the way to the hospital. So she missed my son's birth in jail / in the hospital. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. My son was healthy. He's fine. I'm fine. She'll see us, when she gets home. So they ended up keeping her at that facility, or they ended up transferring her to another facility. And she stayed there for like 7 days. Hold on, let me get my eye palette. She stayed there for about 7 days, and they released her. So she came over, she seen us. I was talking to her, about what happened. She was brushing it off, acting like it was not that serious. The police misunderstood the situation, blah, blah, blah. And at this time, I just broke down. Like, I begged her, poured my heart out, begged her, crying, snotting, to get help, because I'm like, I want you to be here. I need you to be here, Like, this is your first green child, and I'm her only child. So it's not like you're going to have a lot of these chances unless I start having a plethora of kids, which I did not plan on. So I'm emotionally begging her and telling her, to get some help. And she didn't get any help. And the more that I was pressuring her about, getting help, the more irritated, agitated she was getting, because she feel like, I don't believe her, and I'm discrediting her experience and all the things. And it was like, honestly, it's not, but it's like the things that I have seen, it's not what you're describing. Like, for sure, I know that man was not bothering us. He wasn't even looking at us. He wasn't even that close to us. So it's like, it's hard for me to not believe what my physical eyes are seeing. And we butted heads about that, because I'm like, girl, like, you don't understand that you putting everybody in danger. You putting yourself in danger. You putting other people in danger, and you putting me in danger. Like, you know what I mean? You're my responsibility. I'm your only child. So anything that happens is going to fall solely, on me. And I'm trying to explain that to her, like, I need you. I want to work with you, not against you. And it's like every time I was talking to her about this stuff, she act like she's receiving it and stuff. But she never, would actually take heed to it. She never would actually follow up with anything. So yeah, she ended up going back to Georgia with my grandmother. And I think it was just because she was tired of hearing me be like, telling her, you need to get some help. You need to do something. Because what you're doing right now, it's not cool. It's actually very alarming. So yeah, she went back with my grandmother. My grandmother called me. She's like, don't worry about it. You don't need to stress about this. You just take care of that baby. I'm basically going to take care of my daughter. And that's pretty much what happened. She stayed out there, and she's pretty much still the same. Like, she came here and visited me. Oh, well, she lived with us for a little while. She ended up coming back, and she lived with us for a little while, and that's when it really got bad, because when she moved in with us, at first I was happy. She seemed to be doing better, but like I said, she was also good at masking what was going on. Like, she knows how to turn it off and turn it on or whatever. If she feels like, she's being judged, I think a piece of hair or something out of my eye. But yeah, so she was super, super paranoid at this point, and she asked me one day, like, was I doing something to her? Mind you, this time when she came to live with us, my son was probably 9 months or something. He was older. I was kind of getting back to myself. I was working again, and I had just said to myself, like, I'm gonna fight this. Whatever's going on, I'm gonna hold her hand through it, and I'm gonna force her to get the help that she needs. Like, she's gonna get help. That's the kind of mindset I had. And looking back, it was naive of me to think, it would be that easy. But that's what I thought at the time. I'm like, it's my mom. I know how, to help her get the care that she needs. Even if she don't want to, I don't care. She's mad at me. Like, I don't care. It's going to be for her best interest. And I just kind of had the mindset of like, I'm going to strong arm her into getting help. Boy, was I wrong. But yeah, so by this time, she was worse. And she would be asking me like, you know, am I doing this to her? Am I shocking her? Would I ever like work against her? She was just saying all this kind of like crazy kind of stuff. And I was reassuring her like, no, Mom, I would never do anything like that. So one day, like I said, my fiance was still working nights. And he would come in super early in the morning and he would eat. He would come home and just be in the kitchen eating, rummaging through, you know, the refrigerator. And her room was like towards the back of the house and our kitchen was in the back. So it was like close to her room. And one day he woke me up and he was like, babe, you need to get your mom. Your mama tripping. Your mama tripping. And it was, you know, super early in the morning. So I'm half asleep. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And he just keeps saying like, you need to get your mom. She tripping. She tripping. So I go in there and I see her and she's just looking with this sick, sinister, evil look. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I've never seen her look like that. Now, and my mom is from Chicago. I done seen her beat up men, women, and everything in between. But the look that she had, it was scary to me. But I was so exhausted from trying to get her to get help. Like, I didn't even care. Like, at first when I seen her, I was scared, but then I just blacked out and I started yelling and screaming to the top of my lungs, like, you need to get help, you need to get help, you need to get help. I was screaming, like, hysterical. Everybody in the house woke up, the kids woke up, everything, and, you know, I was inconsolable because I'm just like, at that point, I just feel like, you know, nothing's ever going to work. Because she's too far gone. Like, she think I'm hurting her. She think you hurting her. She was thinking, you know, my cousin was doing something to her because she had went to see my auntie at the time and she was accusing him of it. Was just like, she didn't even trust her family anymore. And when it first started, it would just be like, people that she don't know, she don't do good around. She's not good around large crowds. She don't like to go out in public a lot and stuff like that. But now it's getting to the point where you thinking I'm doing something. You think my fiance's doing, you know, something, and he has another child. So it's like, you know, now he don't even feel safe with you around our kids. And then what do I have to do? You know, I'm a mom. I have to put my kids first. I have to put my family first. And if he's uncomfortable with you being here, then you can't be here. So shortly after that, she ended up leaving, went back to Georgia, and that's where she's been ever since. And yeah, I had taken her before she left. I had taken her to see a therapist. I had signed her up to see a psychiatrist, and she was taking these classes and stuff. And then one day, I was on the way, you know, driving her to see the therapist. And yeah, so I had signed her up to see a psychiatrist. The first time I took her to a Christian-based psychiatrist because I'm thinking, you know, that'll be easier for her. They'll be gentle with her. It was a hot mess. Like the amount of times that I was crying and broke down, I had to see my own doctor after this happened because it was so much. But all this happened over the span of like 2 years. Yes, but I took her to the first place that she agreed to go to with me. I took her there and she told the man that he was not a good psychiatrist and he didn't know what he was doing. And she left me there. And so, you know, the guy was kind of just like, I'm so sorry that I couldn't help. If she changes her mind, just give me a call. And I'm just like, yeah, she ain't changing her mind. It's over. It just is what it is. She's just not going to accept, you know, the help. But then I kept pressing. I got her to see somebody else because after the whole doctor debacle, I requested somebody come down and talk to her from like the psychiatric part of the ER. And they came down, they gave her a diagnosis of like PTSD, and she wasn't sleeping. Like, she was just staying up all night. And so they were saying, that's making everything worse. You need to first start off by getting some rest, because you not resting is throwing everything off or whatever. So that lady that we seen at the ER, she referred us to another place. So I took her there. She snapped on him, went off on him, said he didn't know what he was talking about because he suggested that she was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. And as soon as he said that, she snapped on him. So that was the third time. The fourth time, the doctor gave us a list of places after we left the ER. So I just went down the list, getting her in to see these people. And she went there one time and she seen the crowd. She was like, this is for crazy people. Like, don't bring me here no more. I'm not coming back here. And shortly after that is when she moved to Georgia. And she's been there ever since. And it's kind of hard for me to gauge like what state she's in, because like I said, she's good at keeping stuff from me because she doesn't want me to judge her. She don't want to hear, oh, mom, you need to get help. She don't want to hear none of that. So she's not going to tell me anything that's going to make me even say anything remotely close to something like that to her. But she has been getting in trouble since she's been in Georgia with the police for, small miscellaneous things, but it's all related to her mental health. I'm like, Mom, you lived your whole life without getting in trouble, and now you keep getting in trouble with the law, and you don't think it's anything like wrong with that. Not wrong with it, but you don't think there's something mentally going on. But she will not admit that there's something wrong with her. She says that she's a targeted individual. People are following her. People are doing this and that and that. And I told her, I'm not necessarily going to tell you that that's not happening to some people, but it's not happening to you. From what I've seen with my own eyes, it's not happening to you. And so, yeah, that's just kind of been my life with her for the last now 4 years. And it's really hard to talk about because it makes me very emotional, because it's like, dang, I really miss my mom and I really need my mom, and my kids love her down. Like my son especially, because he got to spend more time with her when she stayed with us, and he's always asking for her and stuff. And she came here to visit on Mother's Day, and it was cool. She acted fine. She didn't have any outbursts or anything, but I knew she was still suffering because we went to the store and I looked up and seen her taking pictures of somebody who was like shopping near us. So I'm like, okay, let's just go, because I know, what this is. But yeah, it scares me to death, and all I can do is pray. Because trust me, I've tried to get her help, but the state won't mandate it. She's been admitted to several facilities. They won't keep her. They say if she doesn't ask for help voluntarily, they will not keep her. So the only way they will help her is if, God forbid, she goes out and does something drastic to hurt herself or somebody else, like when she had that altercation and police took her in. Other than that, they're not gonna do anything, to help. And it sucks. It's a sucky reality, but it's the way of our world. So yeah, that's pretty much the story on my mom and her mental health. And the saddest thing is, because of what she's going through, it causes me to miss out on what I know would be a great experience for me and my child now that I'm a mom. And it causes me to miss out on just my mom in general, because my mom is not the same mom, obviously. And a lot of the times, I'm having to take the reins and do this and do that. And of course I'm gonna do it for my mom. Like, I will go to the end of the earth for her. But it does hurt me to know that I don't have the same mother. It's like you grieving somebody that's not gone. You know what I mean? because my mom's not the same mom. But yeah, so keep my mother and me, for that matter. I think this is the one that glows, so this isn't the right one, so I'll just use this. Keep me and my mom in your prayers. I feel like I skipped a step, but I watched the video a couple of times before I started doing it. But yes, keep me and my mom in your prayers. I pray for my mom every day that God will restore her mind, restore her health in general. My mom is still rather young and she still has time to have a better quality of life. And that's what I'm really hoping and wishing for her. She absolutely does deserve it. She has been through more than enough. And you know, I love her and I just want to see her operating at her highest potential and being her best self. And for anybody who is dealing with this or dealing with something like this, I'm praying for you as well. It's a very hard thing to deal with. Like I said, it plummeted my mental health, just carrying the burden of trying to facilitate these things that I knew my mom needed, with her, you know, fighting me and going against me, and also the resources and everybody, just like nobody was helping me. They're like, you know, she be all right, it is what it is. And it's sad because it's like nobody wants to help until it's too late. You know what I mean? But yes, when I was going through this, at the end of it, when my mom left for the last time and went back to Georgia, I had to take a beat. I took a mental leave from work. I had to see my doctor. I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and it was a really hard thing. And my doctor looked at me and told me, like, you know, you're going to need to go to therapy because this situation is going to constantly break your heart. Because when these things happen, when people are experiencing these things, for one, it's hard to get them to, you know, accept the medication. And then if they do accept the medication, when they start taking it and they start to feel better, they're like, okay, it's nothing wrong with me, and they stop. And it's just a cycle. It's like somebody who's doing drugs. Like, they just keep falling back in it and falling out and falling. And sometimes they never even pursue the thought of getting help. So yes, it's been a roller coaster, and I'm just learning, you know, how to take it for what it is and how to navigate through it. And lately, I just been meeting my mom where she's at. She calls me. Sometimes we have normal conversations and it feels so good because I'm like, okay, this is feeling familiar. And then sometimes it goes completely left. And, you know, it's just like, it's just a constant, like, heartbreak. It's like going back to, it's like there's never going to be a time where I'll just be like, all right, I'm used to it. It hurts every single time that I realize the reality of, like, what's going on with my mom. But yes, this is a very cute look. I know I said before I wanted to do a smoky eye, but I seen this video where this girl kind of did like a light, like a white, you know, color in the corner, and she smoked out the ends, and I really like this. So I think this looks nice. My dinner's tomorrow, so I'll probably do something like this tomorrow. But yes, I have more stories about, you know, my mom, but maybe I can tell you guys some stories about before, like, all this happened, because she's a pretty funny lady. But yes, I guess I'm done. That was it. That's the story time. Peace and love to everybody. You guys have a good night. As always, love you. Bye. And yeah, until next time, thank you for watching.